What's good? Speak a hedge of protection around this message, around this space. My name is Brittany Sunshyne, and this is Seed Soil Water, where we align with divine, true revelation for deeper roots and brighter blooms. And so it is. So listen, I've had some weird experiences in the past little bit. I feel like the Chiron is doing its work in the sign of Aries, which is not only my sun sign, but my north node. If you know, you know. And also, those of you who are just friends with me through this channel, you get the Pisces rising energy from me, as opposed to the double fire Leo and Aries that I really am. So, but I feel like this message is going to bring out a little bit of that fire, that double fire. So buckle up and stay tuned. And this is one of those messages that I'm reaching this point, and the Chiron is the wounded healer. And it's been bringing up a lot of things that I've gone through, different wounds that have happened, and it's annoying when they come up, but it also repeatedly reminds me how important it is to do the inner work and to continue healing every layer as it exposes itself, even though it's uncomfortable and nobody wants to do it. Nobody wants to do it. It's like cleaning your oven. It's like cleaning your microwave. It's like we can easily just open it and look in there and be like, ooh, yeah, gross. Okay, I'll just do that next time. Okay. And this is your official pep talk moment to say no more putting off for tomorrow what can be done today. That's some quote that some smart person said. It's not original content, but listen, I was just sitting here. One of the things that I do is I'm interested in true crime, and it's something that I believe it's a way that resolves this interest I have in justice being served. I do not. And it's also like research, realizing there are people out here like that, you know? And the interesting thing is to realize that those people walking around that do these wild things they would probably be like, I'm just a person. Or even I would say, they're just a person. And it's like, where do you draw the line in your discernment, in your judgment, in decision making? In terms of like who you surround yourself with and what type of excuses you allow to exist for other people that will be in your life, and also accountability as a personal accountability, you know, like for example, the body cams. That's a rabbit trail. If you haven't been down the body cam trail, oh my gosh. You'll see the same thing over and over again. And like the premise of it is mindset matters. The people who are off on some crazy victim, I have anxiety, like tyrant, whatever, rant. I don't know. Tyrant is not the word, but rant, like they are being carried away by their internal mindset and probably several alchemical reactions that are coming from a flawed mindset. Go check out the playlist I have on this channel called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza. I read that book here and give some commentary because there are literal internal systems that get set off. And so this is where you're not to blame, because some of this might be inherited, learned behaviors, but you are to blame if you haven't done anything about it, okay? And that's where in my life, I'm constantly like looking at what do I need to own about the present state of being that I exist within, and what personal work do I need to do in order to live a life that is worthy of my calling, yo. Ooh! I'm feeling the spiciness today. I'm telling you what, spirit is in a mood and I can feel it and it's flowing through me. When I read that in the word about like, you better be living a life that's worthy of your calling, I'm like, that I have never heard a better drop the mic moment, nor a better like punk you out phrase, while also calling you to the highest high. Like, you better be living a life that is worthy of your calling. What he's saying there is like, you've been called. You have been called. Like, and you know what else? It says that like many are called, few are chosen. That's not really what it means. It's like everyone's called, but few make themselves choosable. The people that remain in the endless spiral of victim mindset or complete flawed reality or in the narrative of flawed reality where there's no personal accountability, there's no pursuit of healing, there's no personal choice of I've got to do better because I want to live a life that's worthy of my calling. And yeah, I've seen that I could live at this level, but I really ought to be living at this level. Why don't I call myself higher? Why don't I pursue further healing work so that what is getting in the way between here to here? What's the chasm? How do we bridge that gap? It is time to rise up into the version of yourself that you have been called to be. And yeah, we came here and there's a bunch of shit, there's a bunch of shit. Like, let's get all over that. We accept it. We mourn about it, and then we move through it in order to unveil the conqueror within that has been called to live a life at this level. Now, there are a lot of things that get in the way, but there are also solutions, and there is a truth vein that you can tap into that will feed you truth. Okay, so let me start. We're all over the place. So yeah, one thing is if you look at every girl or guy that's freaking out, man, on the body cams because they've probably had substances and they've probably also been enabled by a thought system, which is the general standard thought system that we are fed by the health care system and by this society where everyone is just allowed to be victims and entitled and encouraged to be so, because there are profits being made by all of us remaining slaves. Okay? What a word. This is the kind of thing where I'm like, who possibly wants to listen to this? If you're still here, type below. I'm still here. If you're still in it, be like, I'm still in it. This is actually leading somewhere, okay? So, what just pivoted me to come do this message right now is I was listening to Mackenzie Shirella is a girl that is currently serving time because she drove her car into a wall and 2 people lost their lives because of it. And instead of her parents being like, there's just so many layers deep of wrong mindset that is active and operating in that family, in my opinion. And I'm just thinking about how that girl, and they keep continuing to feed her these false realities and this false hope, and also putting emphasis on the wrong goals instead of worrying about having personal accountability or about healing whatever that inner wound is that caused her to choose to drive her car into a wall. Instead of that, they're like, maybe we'll get modeling deals, and why don't you write your book? And it's just really bizarre, flawed mindset. And the mindset is so important. Knowing how to think in a trajectory that's going to get you where you want to go. Having the right goals of getting to where you want to go, knowing where you want to go and making sure that it actually matters. There's so many moral and ethical things that need to be in balance and in alignment in order to live that calling or living that life that's worthy of the call, right? Worthy of your purpose, of your potential, of the potential of your divine identity in action. So, as I'm watching this all play out, I'm like, wow. It really lit a fire within me, because this is not just happening sometimes on the family nucleus level. This is also happening in society, in how we are trained up to aim for the wrong things, in how we are taught inaccurate things in the goal of life in society, how we're taught inaccurate things in religion that keeps people held down because we're a few degrees off from the actual true liberation. And that's the kind of thing that makes me want to flip some tables. And there was a guy that flipped some tables in a place just like religion, if you remember the story, and he did it because he saw the same things happening. And then when he said, but here is the living water, here is the actual solution, they called him New Age, they called him Satan, they called him all sorts of things because they were so stuck in a mindset, and this is an energy pendulum issue where they're like, this is how we've done it, this is what makes us feel safe. And also there's a pride issue. It's like, you can't tell me I'm wrong because this is what we all think. It's the group think ailment. Remember, yeah, anyway. But he said, if the Son has set you free, surely you will be free indeed. So if you are not free yet, then there's still more freedom to access. And that's ultimately what is the most important thing. And I'm sure that there are places and facets in the religious thing that are still leading to the ultimate freedom. But once you start demonizing healing, because it looks different than what you've seen before, then there's a big problem. Okay, so this is why I created Rejuvenate. Remember when in the scripture when he's like, you clean the outside of the vessel, but you don't clean the inside of the vessel. So that's a fancy way of talking about when we are tending to our external selves, but we're not tending to the subconscious or unconscious part of our being that is actually running the program that we are then projecting onto the 3D screen of our lives. That means we're living the 3D projection of what the program is that's running internally. And, remember Paul was like, I'm doing the things I don't want to be doing, and I don't do the things that I do want to do. Like, what the heck? Like, it's so maddening. And how many of us can relate to that? It's like, I know I don't want to repeat the same behaviors or the same relationship patterns that I've had before. And I know that consciously, I know it cognitively, but yet I'm just living the same repeated pattern. And it's because the pattern comes from whatever's running in the subconscious mind, whatever's running in the subconscious and unconscious. Our body has a memorized script. It's some things that we learned, it's a reaction out of things we experienced. But then there's also some things that we've just inherited through our lineage. Memories do pass through DNAs. That's been confirmed in science. It's really funny because science is just confirming so much of the things that has been told to us through these ancient scripture truths. And then science comes running up and they're like, look at that. And it's like, yeah, we already knew that, but now you've proven it. And hey, I like that stuff. I really do, because I love science and I love seeing how things work. It helps me really root into more the depth of the scripture as opposed to it just being like a principle that's preached at me, So anyway, you are meant to chase out the mystery. You are meant to search out the mystery. It is your responsibility at the end of your race to be able to say that you lived a life that was worthy of the calling. The calling is big, exceedingly, abundantly, far above anything you could ask, think, dream, or imagine. Do not allow this realm, religion, flawed narratives, liars, to take from you what has been sent for your path, because it is meant for you. Do not allow any person, place, or thing to hold you back from what it is that you were meant to experience while you are here. You came here to shine your light. There's a little bit of dust on the headlights, there's a little bit of dust on your windshield because some shit happened. You went through some storms, some things broke. Everything is possible to heal. When you meet it and greet it at the micro level and I don't quite know how it all works. That's the crazy thing. It's kind of like pregnancy. We can point to you combine this with that and you put it here and then it does something. The cells split and they make a baby, Just because we can point to what happens does not mean that we fully understand or can quantify the magic that makes that happen. It's just the thing that happens. So what I'm telling you is I don't know exactly how it all happens, but I do know that there's a pathway of healing and restoration. And if your pride is more important to you than accessing that healing, if your group think is more important to you than accessing that freedom, then so be it. Enjoy your crutches and your entitlement and your group. But for those of you who want to go all the way to live that life that is worthy of the calling, of the freedom, of everything that was paid for, Tetelestai paid in full, Get on your healing journey. Rejuvenate is a path that is one of the ways to get there. It's subconscious healing work. You're gonna have to do the work. You're gonna have to deal with some shit. Remember I told you about like opening the microwave and seeing the gunk and you're like, I'll just deal with it the next time. This is your time. We're not dealing with it the next time. We're dealing with it now. It's gonna be some work. There's gonna be some layers. It's gonna require you to get your gumption up, set aside all of the excuses. You can have results or you can have excuses, but you can't have both. So if you're ready for the results, then move through it. I have reduced the price from $4.97 to $59 because I wanted it to be accessible. And it's one of those things, like, I've poured my heart and soul into this. I'm going to continue adding to it. I've actually been inspired to do some inner child additional bonuses. So like, I'm going to keep adding to it. And when you sign up, it will be lifetime access. So when you sign up, you'll always have access to it. And I'll be sure to email you when I add new things. But like, now that it's done, I'm like, it's easily worth $1,500. Easily. It's easily worth $10,000. But the point is, this is for people to meet you right where you are. And so I'm like, while I believe in it at the point of 10 grand, if you don't have 10 grand to pour into it, I want your healing for you more than I want 10 grand. Like, I just believe that the path is always going to be made for me in a way that will meet my needs and beyond, the exceedingly, the abundantly. And so anyway, I see what's happening in the world. I see the way that they're robbing us blind through interest rates, through taxes, through robbing just straight out of like governmental funds. I see what's happening, and that like it is important to me to see the light workers it's funny, I almost said light walkers, which is also really beautiful, but the light workers to be able to get a little bit of respite so they can continue the journey. And of course, I can't guarantee healing. This is like a puzzle piece in a puzzle. This is like, you ought to be drinking your water and getting your sleep and getting your sunshine, and you're taking your vitamins and eating healthy food and dealing with your, therapist or whatever. Like, there's many aspects. Like, this is not a one and done perfect thing, but it is a huge piece of the work that I found was missing from the puzzle. And if you want, a complete, well-rounded wholeness, then it's like you've got to do your inner work too. And I believe that this is the type of thing that, for example, Elijah knew about. And, when he went and healed the boy, brought him to life. Like, it's funny how we worship Jesus for what he did, but Elijah did that too. Can we talk about that? Or is that too weird and sacrilegious? The way I don't believe that I don't believe Jesus came here to, I know this sounds crazy because it's a paradox, so just stay with me. Jesus, didn't come here to be like the idol, IDOL. He didn't do that. That's not what it was about. He said, I came here to show you what you can do. And then the crazy thing is that automatically, though, we will cast our crowns to him because we all understand that it was him showing us the way, making the way possible, that allowed us to get our crown. But you ought to be going for your crown. It doesn't make you bad. It doesn't make you wrong to go for the crown. How are you going to cast your crowns at his feet if you don't even get your crown? Because you gave up, or because you allowed religion to pigeonhole you into thinking that your job is just to sit in a pew and wait. Go get your crown. He's not impressed by all of us just sitting by waiting. He's not impressed by us just using excuses instead of laying hold of the tetelestai paid in full healing that is available. Do your inner work. I don't know what it's going to lead to for you, but I know that it's important, and I know that it leads to a whole lot of joy and peace. And just, what if you could just wake up and have the relief? What if you could just wake up and have that heavy weight off of you? And who knows what happens next, but like, isn't that enough? So check out Rejuvenate, and let me know if you have any questions. Be blessed, be well, be free. I'll catch you in the next one.